Hello, my lovely. You didn't get to where you are in your business by doing shit the way that everybody else does. And you know that what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you are listening to this podcast, it's because you want to be the go to for what you do better than anyone else. Your brilliance is the niche. Being you, that bold, unfuckwithable presence that you've secretly been craving to set free, she is in there. And that means you will have to burn some old bridges down. And attracting your people will also repel those who are not for you. Fucking hooray. Becoming a force of nature business and brand means no more Miss People Pleaser, no more hiding your turbo brain, no more dimming down jack shit. And if you have ever been told to tone it down as a woman with ADHD, it's time to tone your shit all the way the fuck back up. That is how you create unstoppable momentum in your business and visibility that is something you've been avoiding, but that you truly want. This podcast is about stepping into your upgrade, watering down anything, never change the fucking world. You were not born to be forgettable. And as one of my all-time favorite quotes says, well-behaved women rarely make history, and nothing about you or me is well-behaved, at least not anymore. In today's episode, we are in part 3 of a 4-part series. If you haven't listened to part 1 and part 2, go back and listen. And if your brain is trying to rebel and say, no, I'm going to listen to this up, please go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2. You need the context. It's very important, especially if this is something that you're contending with. So if you haven't heard those other episodes, please go back and listen. That episode for last week and today is about bridging the gap between the self-trust gap using proof of opposite questions and micro trust building. And then finally in part 4, it's going to be all about what happens when that self-trust comes together and your ADHD brain, then you see it as your competitive edge. So one last thing before we go any further, now that you found me, stick around, follow and subscribe to get that little push notification reminder each week. And once you do that, you are officially part of my girl gang, the Feral Women's Club. Let's do this. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneu, the podcast for online coaches who are feral as fuck and have ADHD and refuse to play by the fucking rules. My name is Carrie. I'm your host, and I'm the chief weirdo of Carrie Out Loud. If you're here because you know it's time to stop your fucking brain chaos from happening as often as it does and find a clear path to business growth that is sustainable, and your body says a full body fuck yes to, then you're absolutely in the right place. If the episode has an impact on you, tell me. I want to know. Shoot me a DM over on Instagram. That's where I hang out. What stood out? What hit you between the eyes? I want to know. And if you're digging me as a human while listening and you want to book a clarity call to see if my work or the Neurospicy Sisterhood Mastermind is for you, my link is in the show notes. I only care about one thing as a leader of women with ADHD in business: your success, your results, you getting to where you want to go and being wealthy as fuck. In every sense of the word. That's not just money, because time and energy are also currencies. And I literally do this work for the ripple effect. Because when I see a woman come into my world, into coaching, who does not have that self-trust and she feels overwhelmed and she closes that gap and I'm able to show her that she can do it differently, that ripple effect is massive. It's going to be way bigger than I will ever know. And I love that because I love the fact that I'm never going to know how far it will reach. And that's good. And I'm really here to help you do 2 things. It's to close that self-trust gap so you can get the fuck out of your own way and grow, and to show you that you can see a successful feral as fuck woman running a business, and one that I love, and being raw and unfiltered and gritty, and that it's a good thing, because for a long time you may have believed it's not. And my mission is really to help as many women like me become 6 and 7 figure coaches running sustainable businesses for the long haul, because I don't want you burning out every 6 months. That's not the job. That's not what you're here to do. So far we've talked about what the self-trust gap is, that your brain has been collecting evidence, they're presenting that shit to a jury. And then last week we started
modifying that with the proof of opposite, the documenting all of the shit that you have accomplished that your brain just conveniently forgot about, and collecting that evidence of past wins. That's step one. You've already started that. That is creating the new evidence. That is rebuilding the trust in real time with yourself. And that's really what today's episode is about. I'm talking about micro commitments and micro trust with yourself. And I'm going to tell you something that might sound counterintuitive, but big goals are destroying your self-trust. Tiny commitments, that is what we use to rebuild. So by the end of this episode, you're going to understand a little bit about keeping commitments and how setting these like little micro commitments and micro ways of being able to trust yourself that you'll actually keep is really going to help you start having this trust sooner rather than later. Not next week, not when you feel ready, soon, now, today. I'm not saying don't have big goals. I'm saying don't make them your main focus, right? Because I know this is what happens. You set a big goal. I'm going to launch a course this month. I'm going to post on Instagram every day. I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and journal. If you're a night owl, no. But anyway, you may be saying those type of things. And then life will happen. A kid will get sick. You had a bad day. You had a potato day. You feel overwhelmed. Your nervous system is a little dysregulated. You didn't follow through, right? Now, the goal wasn't the problem. The problem was you in your mind. No. The problem was the size of the commitment you made to yourself, because every time you set a goal and you don't follow through, you're adding more evidence to the pile that says, I can't trust myself. And this is where the brain doesn't distinguish between I didn't follow through because the goal was unrealistic and it didn't follow through because I'm unreliable. It just files it under proof of shit I still can't do, right? And even though intellectually you may know that the way you set this up was setting you up for failure, because sometimes we will do that. We'll be like, I'm going to do all of these things, knowing the way that our ADHD works instead of working with it, instead of against it. So even though you knew intellectually the way you had set it up wasn't for you, maybe neurotypical type of stuff, you're dealing with shit that's outside of your control, and it's not actually a moral failing. Your nervous system just doesn't care. It just learned, I made a promise to myself and I didn't keep it. That's it. And that is why traditional goal setting can feel really fucked up and harmful to brains like ours. We're told to dream big and to go for it and to stop playing small and to set stretch goals that push you outside of your comfort zone. And that's great. Those are all things that we do want to do. But for those of you who are in the process of rebuilding self-trust, big goals are the opposite of helpful, because you're not operating from a place of, I trust myself and I am ready to stretch. You're operating from a place of, I don't trust myself and I'm going to stretch because I'm terrified I'm going to fail again. That's a load of crap. You don't trust yourself. Your big goals don't inspire you. They terrify you because you've been here before. You've set big goals before that you haven't, quote unquote, followed through with. You added more evidence to being unreliable. So we're going to do some different shit. Okay. So here's the premise. Self-trust, trust in any capacity, is built through keeping promises, not through achievements, not through reaching goals, but those promises that you are keeping. And the smaller the promise, the easier it is to keep. And the easier it is to keep, the more evidence you're going to create that you're fucking reliable. And the more evidence you create that you are reliable, the more your nervous system starts to chill the fuck out and believe, oh, wait, I can trust me. So micro commitments are promises so small your brain can't argue with them. So small that you can keep them on your worst fucking day. So small, there is no way to, quote unquote, fail. And I know you might be thinking, but Carrie, I need to grow my business. I need to make progress. I don't have time for tiny commitments. You're not making any progress right now because you don't trust yourself to follow through. You're stuck in analysis paralysis. You're over prepping. You're second guessing. You're asking everyone else for permission. So until you build that trust back with yourself, big goals are going to keep feeling this way. Micro commitments are not about thinking small or growing in small ways. This is about building a foundation of trust. And when you build a foundation of trust with yourself, it allows you to eventually go bigger without self-sabotage. So what does this actually look like in practice? A micro commitment is not, I'm going to launch my course this month. It is, I'm going to open my laptop at 9 a.m. I'm talking that small. Because if you're building self-trust back up over a lifetime, I'm 52. So I was 48 when I was diagnosed. I had 48 years of all of those other thoughts that I needed to redirect, right? So making these small promises and keeping them are how I started building self-trust, turning inside instead of asking for everybody's opinion in certain things that were small at first and then became larger. That's how I helped it. So another thing, it's not, I'm going to post on Instagram today. I'm going to write one sentence of this piece of content. It's not, I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes every day. I'm going to put on my workout clothes. Do you see the difference? It's that starter. And I'll tell you one thing about ADHD brains, this kind of marries in here, is that we do great with momentum. So when we do one tiny little microscopic thing, not only is it rebuilding that self-trust, it's giving us momentum, and that helps us actually accomplish the things we want to accomplish. So if you see this is the difference. We're not committing to an outcome. You're committing to the smallest possible step, because what happens is when you commit to, I'm going to open my laptop at 9 a.m. and keep that promise. When you commit to writing that one sentence and you keep that promise, your brain doesn't care it was small. Your nervous system doesn't give a fuck that it didn't count, right? You made a commitment to yourself, you follow through, you're reliable. Over, and over and over again. And let's talk about why this works. Every time you kick a commitment to yourself, no matter how small, your brain gets kicked in the dopamine, right? And dopamine, that's the neurotransmitter. That's reward and motivation. It's what makes you feel good, right? And we do not have the same amount as neurotypical brains. It's literally part of why ADHD is the way it is. It is the way words are hard. It is the way it is. We're constantly seeking these sources of the dopamine, the novelty that we love, and starting all of these projects. It's why we are impulsive. But what you may not realize is it's not just released when you achieve something massive. It's released when you do any task, when you close any loop, when you keep any freaking promise. So when you set a micro commitment and you keep it, dopamine. And your nervous system learns, oh, we did the thing we said we're going to do. That felt good. I like that. Do that enough times, and your brain is going to start to trust those smaller commitments, that when you say what you're going to do, you're going to follow through. And not because you're trying to rely on willpower or discipline or things that are like, that ain't it for us. But it's because you've created a pattern of promises that you believe. One more time, you believe. So here's what I want you to know about setting these commitments so they actually work. 1, they need to be stupid, ridiculously small. I know it sounds silly. If there's any part of your brain that's like, I might not do that, it's too big, make it smaller, make it smaller. 2, they're specific. I'm going to work on my business today, ain't it? That's very broad. I'm going to open my laptop at 9 a.m. That's specific. 3, time bound, not I'm going to do this someday. When? Be specific. Even try to have somebody help hold you accountable, so that you are like telling them, this is what I'm committing to, right? That could be just like your business sister. It's not for anything other than making that commitment. And 4, next, it can't depend on your feelings. I'm going to work out if I feel like it is not a commitment. I'm going to put on my workout clothes at 7 a.m. is. And number 5, these have got to be things that you can control, that you have a say in, because really the only thing you have control over is yourself. So it's not, I'm going to get 3 clients this week. You don't control that or where they come from. You have a big say in that by your marketing and all that, but you literally don't go into people's brains and control them to buy from you. That's not good. But saying something like, I'm going to send 5 DMs this week, or I'm going to reach out to 5 people this week, something like that. You do control that. You definitely do. So here's the difference between commitments that are going to get you there and performative ones, because of course there are those. A productive commitment builds the trust. It's something you're genuinely committing to doing because it fucking matters to you. It lines up with what you actually want. It's not based on somebody else's expectations or bullshit. It's for you. A performative commitment is doing something you think you should do. It's when you start shoulding all over yourself. It's something you're committing to because others expect it, because you're trying to prove something, or because it makes you think it'll make you look good, right? Performative commitments to yourself do not build trust, because even if you keep them, they don't feel good. They don't feel good at all. Your nervous system's like, fuck off when you're performing. It doesn't like it. So when you're setting these micro commitments, I want you to ask yourself, is this what I actually want? Or is this what I think I should want? So here's your assignment, little 3-minute protocol for the next few days. I want you to commit to one ridiculously small thing, one micro commitment per day, anything. Not a business goal, not a transformation, not a habit you're building, just one teeny tiny little promise. Like, I'll drink a glass of water when I sit down to work, or I'll write a sentence in my journal at 8 p.m., or I'll take 3 deep breaths before I start my day, or I will stretch for 30 seconds when I get out of bed. That's it. Pick one little thing, make it ridiculously small, and do it for 3 days. And here's the important part. You're not allowed to do more than what you commit to. If you're committed to writing one sentence, you write the one sentence, stop, even if you want to keep going, because the point is not being productive. The point is keeping the promise. Now, after those 3 days, I want you to check in with yourself. How did it feel to keep the promises? What did you notice? What changed? And then you can decide, do I want to keep this same commitment for the next 3 days, or do I want to set something different? The key is not escalating, not saying, oh, that was easy, let's commit to something bigger. You're saying you're staying at this level until keeping those promises feels natural to you, until your nervous system is like, yes, that when you say something, you do it. So just keep in mind that big goals are great, but if you are in the part where you are learning more self-trust, those big goals can erode some of that self-trust. And these tiny promises are the ways that you can rebuild it. So pick your micro commitment, do it for a few days, notice what shifts, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. And next week, I'm going to wrap up the series of what happens when you get to the other side, when self-trust becomes your competitive advantage and being feral is feels fucking good. And if this episode landed for you, I'd love you to screenshot it, share it on Instagram, tag me at Carry Out Loud. Tell me what micro commitment you kept. I want to know. I want to know what's happening. And with that, I'm going to end today's episode. If you're an online coach and you want to ruthlessly simplify your business for growth in a way that's ADHD fucking friendly and your brain won't reject, and you want to make a lot of money, honey, so you can love your life outside of your business, my work is for you. Get into my universe by doing these 2 things. First, keep up with the latest and greatest. Hop onto the newsletter. It's exclusively for women in business who think or know they have ADHD. It's called The Frequency. The link is in the show notes. And let's talk shop. If you are looking to have support from somebody who understands ADHD, neurodivergence, let's talk about this book, A Clarity Call. Let's talk about simplification for growth, what it looks like to work together. The easiest way to book that is to slide into my DMs on Instagram. That's where I hang out at Carry Out Loud, or you can go into the show notes and book it. It's a 30-minute call. It's not a coaching call. It's where I get to know you and your business and your goals, and we see if it's a match for us to work together. Until next week, I see you. I love you. I'm fucking rooting for you always. Don't let that self-trust gap kick you in the teeth. You got this. Stay feral, motherfuckers. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.